Good morning. Are we ready to start?
I believe so, yes.
Good morning. I'm Senator Julie Kushner and co-chair of the Labor and Employees Committee, Public Employees Committee. And we are ready to convene our meeting today, the 13th of February. I will start with item number 2 on the agenda, remarks by the chairs. And I'll keep it really short. I hope everybody is staying safe and warm. Of course, we would have preferred to be in person, but I think it's a good idea if people remain at home when they can. So we'll get started right away, and I'll ask if my co-chair, Representative Sanchez, do you have any comments?
Thanks, Senator Kushner. I just want to echo what you said. I hope everybody's home and safe, and I look forward to the productive meeting today.
Thank you. And now we'll go to our ranking member, Senator Sampson. You're good? And how about Representative Weir?
Good, thank you.
Okay, great. So diving right in, we'll start with item number 3 on the agenda, concepts to be raised as bills and resolutions. And we'll start with item number 1, an act concerning rideshare and delivery drivers. Do I have a motion?
So move, Rep. Hughes.
Second.
Moved by Rep. Hughes and seconded by Representative Sanchez. This is a bill that I think you'll see will be similar to the bill we raised last year that would address certain concerns we have about the treatment of rideshare and delivery drivers. And so I think it's worthy of another conversation this year. We will be raising this as a concept. Any questions?
Question, Rep. Weir.
Yes, Representative.
Has anything changed materially? You know, I know the discussion, I recall many of the discussions we had last year. Are we just bringing this up again? Are there any material changes, or is it pretty much the same topics we discussed before?
I'm not aware of anything new coming into the discussion from last year. There have been different bills over the years, but I have not, no one has brought to our attention anything new that they're seeking to address. Any other questions? Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. And forgive me, I was struggling trying to get my screen to show the reactions button so I could raise my hand.
Okay.
We're out of practice on our Zoom committee meetings.
Agreed.
At least I am. Yeah, I just, since this is the same bill as the one we had last year, and, we did have a hearing on it. We heard a lot of testimony. And effectively what this is really is entering into the rideshare industry in our state with what I consider to be, pretty onerous regulations that might do damage to that industry and the people that are employed therein. And as a result, since it's the same bill, I think that myself and I think all of the Republicans voted no on the proposal in the last session. So I'm inclined to see this as a roll call vote, and I'll be voting no today.
Thank you, Senator Sampson. Any other comments or questions? Okay, then I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 1, an act concerning rideshare and delivery drivers. The motion is to raise this concept. Senator Kushner.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson.
Sampson is no.
Representative Weir.
Weir is no.
Representative Ackert.
Representative Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton.
Belton is yes.
Representative Hall. Representative Hughes.
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser.
Senator Lesser is a yes.
Representative Iaccarino.
Representative Iaccarino is a no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We'll be holding votes open today. The next item on the agenda is an act concerning non-competes. Is there a motion?
Rep Hughes, so moved.
Second? Is there a
Second.
It's been moved by Representative Hughes and seconded by Representative Sanchez. Senators, well, wait 1 second, and I will just say again, this is a bill that we've had in the past. We are continued to be optimistic that this is something we can get done this to address non-compete agreements that are being required in certain industries amongst certain sectors of workers. So any comments or questions for Senator Sampson?
And thank you, Madam Chairman. You just mentioned that this would affect only certain industries, or is this going to propose to eliminate non-compete provisions in contracts across the board?
So what I intended to say, and I don't, we can go back to the record and see how I phrased it, but what I is that we do have certain sectors of our workforce that are governed by non-compete agreements that we believe are inappropriate for those sectors, both because of the industry that they work in and also because of the types of jobs they're employed in. So I do believe it will be a very similar bill to last year.
I appreciate that answer very much. Thank you. This is kind of the concern I have with this thing. I have, a big problem with the way our Connecticut General Assembly has, over the years, incrementally interfered with private contracts by suggesting that we need policy to prevent the parties to those contracts from being able to make provisions and decisions on their own. And that's what we're talking about here. I mean, a private contract is between the people that we represent. And sometimes that's an employment agreement, like we might be referring to here, but it could be almost any type of contract. But those are free agreements in America between the parties, between an employer and an employee, and they have the opportunity to negotiate the terms of those contracts. I know it might seem like, non-compete is something that only benefits an employer, but very often the employee in that transaction may agree to a non-compete in exchange for something else. And what we're doing here by interfering and suggesting that somehow these provisions can no longer be used by either party to negotiate the terms of a contract, you're limiting their freedom and their ability to negotiate those terms. And as a result, I mean, certainly can't support it. I mean, I know in recent years, there's also been conversation about trying to limit this to certain more narrow circumstances, but it doesn't sound like that to me. It sounds like this is going to be a broad, overarching prohibition. And I cannot stress enough just how damaging something like this is to the freedom of the people we represent. We work for our constituents. And when we tell them that they can't behave in a certain way or engage in an activity, to me, that's wrong unless that activity is harmful. This activity is not harmful. This is a freedom of choice issue between the parties of a private contract. And really, I don't know what the state's interest is. So I'm pretty adamant that we shouldn't even bother to hear a bill that is going to just interfere with private contracts in such a significant manner. So I'll be a no today. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Sampson. Representative Weir.
Thank you. Yeah, for many of the reasons, if not all the reasons that Senator Sampson mentioned, I also have concerns. We have, as Senator Sampson pointed out, that oftentimes a non-compete will be raised, and there's intellectual property, there are goods and services, there are companies who have a competitive advantage over, who have proprietary information over a competitor, and they're trusting their employees with that confidential information. So there are already limits set up. There's case law set up as to what's reasonable and in terms of a non-compete, both in a duration and there are other thresholds that for how long the person has to maintain the non-compete after the employment ends. So there are already limits in case law that are well established, and I don't see why we would try to infringe on those further. I think this could be harmful to businesses where you've got that intellectual property, where you may have that secret recipe or the a certain process that is proprietary. And when an employee leaves, they take that information with them and could go over to a competitor. I think we really we talk about the importance of competition in the marketplace, and this could really hinder competition. So for those reasons, and in addition to what Senator Sampson mentioned, I'll be a no today. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Weir. I would just like to say that we heard some compelling testimony in previous years around these issues, and I'm sure that we'll have an opportunity to hear that testimony and discuss this further in future committee meetings. So are there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 2, an act concerning non-competes. The motion is to raise this as a concept. Senator Kushner.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez.
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson.
Sampson is no.
Representative Weir.
Weir is no.
Representative Ackert.
Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton.
Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall. Representative Hughes.
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser.
Senator Lesser, yes.
Representative Iaccarino.
Representative Iaccarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and we will be holding votes open. Item number 3 on the agenda is an act concerning predictable scheduling. Is there a motion?
Rep Hughes so moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Representative Hughes and seconded by Representative Sanchez. This is a bill, again, that we have seen in past years that would address how schedules will be, how employers can schedule employees who work either shift work or part-time. So I think we've seen this before, and I will call on Senator Sampson.
Thank you again, Madam Chairman. I hate sounding like a broken record, but again, this is another bill that is going to interfere with the private contractual agreement made by freedom of choice for the parties involved, whether it's the employer or the employee. And, we've talked about this bill for the last several sessions, actually. And, it's never been narrowly tailored enough to avoid problems in certain industries. We've talked about everything from, landscapers who, their schedule may depend on the weather. We've talked about people that might be in the catering business and something might happen with a specific event, or even just your run-of-the-mill retail operations, which may depend on the flow of customers at different times of the year, or because there's a show in town or something like that. The fact of the matter is that there are many, many people willing to do these jobs that do not have predictive scheduling. And I believe the market accounts for that by compensation. If you have a job that is going to be on call, chances are you're being compensated better than one that is not for the same thing, because the market dictates the availability of labor and folks to do it. At the end of the day, many of these bills, and this is a good example, are a very clear indication about whether or not we trust our citizens that we represent to make good choices, and we trust freedom and capitalism to work. And I do. I believe that the marketplace is the best solution to provide economic opportunity and prosperity for the people of Connecticut. And you either believe, government is the answer, or you don't. And I don't believe government is the answer. This bill tries to put the government in a position of altering what are free negotiations between the parties. And that's wrong. I'll be voting no today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Sampson. Representative Weir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do recall this bill again from last year, and there was some discussion about which industries, which professions would be excluded. You know, I hear shift work and part-time workers would be included. Can you elaborate a little bit? Are we honing in on specific industries, or are we going to exempt certain ones? Maybe a little bit more about what industries we're going to target with this bill.
I know that in the past, we have excluded many industries, but those that have been included have included retail and hospitality. I'm not giving you a complete list, but I think it's safe to say there will be many exclusions, but you could certainly expect to see inclusions that we've had in the past.
Okay, and as I'm looking out the window here, first they were calling for, the other day, they're not sure if it's going to hit us, this storm. Then last night it was 12 plus inches. Today it's been up and down. And so for those types of reasons, even in retail and hospitality, things could change considerably. The business could be open with no demand, with nobody out on the roads. And I see it fit that you allow the employer and the employee to work it out. There are some employees, I saw a couple of people posting this morning, they're bummed that they had to go into work. So you may have employees who are happy to get that call to say, stay home today, we don't have to demand. Or a snowplow business today, they're going to need extra help. So I want to be, I don't think we should be having this discussion. I don't think we should be tipping the scales. We should allow the employer and the employee to try to work it out. They know best. This has been going on for centuries in terms of employers and employees working it out together. So I'll be a no on this today for those reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Weir. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded. On agenda item 3, an act concerning predictable scheduling, the motion is to raise this as a concept. Senator Kushner.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez.
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson.
Sampson is no.
Representative Weir.
Rep Weir is no.
Representative Ackert.
Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton.
Representative Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall. Representative Hughes.
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser.
Senator Lester's yes.
Representative Yacarino.
Representative Yacarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
We will be holding votes open. The next item on the agenda is an act concerning the number of wage and hour inspectors. And is there a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Sorry.
Seconded. Thank you, Rep. Yacarino.
Moved by, okay, I'm not sure who did what here. You are all so fast.
I made the motion, Rep Hughes seconded.
Okay. So that was made by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is a bill that would require additional wage and hour inspectors in the Department of Labor. Any questions or comments on this? Oh, I should just say that we had this bill last year, and I know it has still come to our attention that many of the bills that we have on, many of the statutes we have under the labor codes, it's difficult for the Department of Labor to address these in a timely manner, given the shorthandedness, the fact that they don't have enough wage and hour inspectors. So I think there's a lot of agreement that we need to increase the numbers so that we can make sure that we're addressing the needs of both employers and workers in the state. Any other comments or questions? Seeing no hands, then I have been advised this can be a voice vote, so I will ask for all those in favor, please indicate by saying yay.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And all of those opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. The next item on the agenda is item number 5, an act concerning equity in state employment. Is there a motion?
Rep. Hughes, so moved.
I'll second that.
Was moved by Representative Hughes and seconded by Representative Wilson. This is this will be a bill that is a result of work having been required by Public Act 2135, in which the Commission on Racial Equity and Public Health was established. After their study, they recommendations that we will want to address through statute. And, you know, there will be some specifics that will be offered around building and state agencies to support equity work in our government, including making sure that each agency has an equity plan. That it will also address ensuring that we have appropriate training and mentoring within the agencies. So those are some of the things that you'll see in this concept that is under consideration. Are there any comments or questions? Senator Sampson.
Madam Chairman, is this the same bill that we had last year?
I believe the bill that we had there was one last year and there was one 2 years ago. I do believe this will be a little bit different. It will probably not include everything that was in those original bills, but we've looked at the work that was done by the commission, and we think that we should move forward with their recommendation. Which
I understand. Thank you for that answer. I'm just remembering and trying to recollect what the thrust of that legislation was. And please correct me if I'm mischaracterizing it, but what I gathered was that it's going to attempt to plot the course of our state agencies as far as staffing, hiring, and so forth, based on race and gender specifics rather than merit. Is that correct?
I would not characterize it that way. I think that specifically, we do know from the studies that have been done that we have some, we've looked at areas of state government that could perform better when it comes to racial and gender equity. And I think that some of the measures that we'll see as recommended from this commission incorporate things like making sure that we have a diverse panel during supervisors or a diverse hiring panel when they're interviewing candidates that we've seen in agencies through some of the study that has been done, that when you have a diverse hiring panel, the results tend to be more equitable. So I don't think it's about merit. I think it's about whether or not we are very intentionally looking, make sure that we are as fair in our hiring practices we can possibly be, and that we believe the results will be a more equitable distribution of work throughout the state agencies.
I appreciate that answer. I don't know if you really addressed my question as deeply as I wanted to get an answer, because I'm trying to make a determination whether I believe this title is worth raising. I mean, the fact of the matter is that if we're going to move away from determining who the best applicants for positions are based on their life experience, their merit, and their qualifications, and we're going to start doing it by the color of their skin or by what sex they are, I disagree with that. I don't think that's. I think we have constitutional, provisions and an understanding in our country about civil rights that we don't judge people based on their race and gender. We judge them based on the content of their character. And I'm very concerned when I see bills like this, because I think we're slowly but surely replacing the idea that, you know, anyone can achieve greatness in this country, regardless of their background, circumstances, and they should have an equal shot. When you start to suggest that people are going to be placed in certain positions solely based on those factors, it concerns me. The bill that we had a couple of years ago, that we had this long discussion, I remember very clearly about life experience and not being taken into consideration. That's someone who actually has a great deal of understanding about certain topics that are key for the job might be displaced by someone else because of one of these superficial factors. Can you reassure me that this bill does factor in the quality of someone's work and their qualifications, or is it going to be more similar to like a quotas or something like that?
So there's been no suggestion of quotas in any of the bills that we've considered thus far. I do believe I can assure you that this is mostly, this is attempting to actually be very intentional about how we are reviewing candidates and making sure that each agency has set up a structure and infrastructure that will ensure that they are looking at new applicants and looking at current employees that might be applying for promotions or looking for promotional opportunities, that we're certain that we're looking at those through a lens of equity, which means that we would have, as I said, more diversity within the panel that's doing the hiring, a plan in each of the agencies. If they see that there are areas where they have not got a diverse workforce, you know, what are the things they could do to ensure that moving forward, we're addressing those issues. And then again, making sure that we have the appropriate training programs available to our current workforce and mentoring programs to ensure success and opportunity for everyone, so that we have a more equitable distribution of employees throughout our agencies. I have never seen any discussion of quotas of any kind, and I don't expect that to appear in these bills that we're in this bill that we would be raising.
Well, I appreciate that answer. Although, I mean, I'm hearing two different things. You're telling me on one hand that we're not going to be discussing quotas, but on the other hand, you use the words to make sure that certain areas have a diverse workforce. Well, I mean, the only way you can possibly ensure that you have a diverse workforce is if you establish some requirements, which are quotas in effect. I don't know. I'll listen to there's a few other folks with their hands raised. I'll listen to what's going on. But if this bill is substantively similar to ones we've had in the past, which ignore merit in favor of so-called equity, which I think is a very misleading term. I don't think that equity is the same thing as fairness or equality or appreciating people based on their qualifications. I think it's it boils people down into nothing but their race and gender, and that is a dangerous way to look at the world, Madam Chairman. And I don't believe the state of Connecticut should be going down that road. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Sampson. I'm sorry, I'm not sure who was next, but I think it was Representative Weir, followed by Representative Ackert, followed by Representative Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Briefly, I heard the discussion back and forth about the concerns over hiring on race, gender, anything other than merit. But I also heard that the hiring panels, in terms of being more equitable. So, are we going to be? Will these hiring panels be determined by race and gender and things other than merit in terms of experience, maybe with hiring other people or experience in reviewing qualifications? Are we going to focus? Are we going to build the or assemble these hiring panels based on race and gender and not experience? Thank you.
As I mentioned, that there is evidence that strongly suggests that the diversity of the people hiring does impact the diversity and successful distribution of employees in our agencies. And as such, you can expect to see a proposal within this that would speak to having diversity within hiring panels. Representative Acker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I almost look as Connecticut as a model in this area already. I know that each commissioner on a yearly basis submits a plan and outlines, their focus on hiring and diversity, and so I'm not sure. I just just at the announcement, the joint announcement, and a lieutenant governor looking at the amount of women that are commissioners in the state of Connecticut. And I'm not sure if this is looking for a problem, because I don't know where the problem lies in hiring. I had to download, I got the information last year regarding how diverse Connecticut's workforce, the state of Connecticut's workforce is already. Not sure if this is a necessary concept to even move forward. So I'm not sure where the problem lies. I guess that's what I'm looking for. So if you have any thoughts on that, or.
Well, I know I attended the symposium that was held by the commission. It was an all-day symposium at the Capitol a few weeks ago, and I found the information in the study to be thorough and professional. And as a result, we have been working with the director and commissioners of that organization. They have been working closely with CHR as well. So I think you'll find when we do, if we're successful in raising this concept, I think you'll find in the public hearing there'll be evidence provided that will address where the needs are. I agree with you that in many cases, the state of Connecticut has been absolutely has been strong on not only having a diverse workforce in certain areas, and I believe that in those cases, we actually see that it's beneficial to our communities, because where the state employs folks, they tend to have address some of the needs through wages and benefits that return to our communities in a positive way. However, we want to be the best that we can be, and I think the study that they participated in, the study and the results of their recommendations that result from the study show that we can actually do better. So I think that will be part of what we hear through the testimony and consider if this bill is raised.
Okay, I appreciate that comment. I think what I would see is that an area that we may struggle with is maybe in DOT or in some of the areas that are construction areas where you just don't get any applicants. And so if you can't fill that just because of the application process in terms of actually who's applying, then it'll be, so you're kind of forced, hey, you got to do this. It's like, well, we don't have anybody applying for these positions. In some cases, you can understand why, but so I'll leave my comments at that, but thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Representative Hughes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to say two things. One is to honor the work and the recommendations of the commission, which we have yet to hear. So I'm looking forward to that. And secondly, this concept intersects with the wider conversation we're having on a national level about who is in the pipeline and who gets the opportunity to maybe intern for different sectors and then be in that pipeline. And I think that this concept is about scaffolding a wider group of applicants to get the experience and get the merit, so that we can truly reflect a workforce that is from our entire community of Connecticut. So I really look forward to this concept and the recommendations and all the work done by the commission, and this is the right place to do it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative Hughes. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 5, an act concerning equity in state employment. The motion is to raise this as a concept. Senator Kushner.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez.
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson.
Sampson is no.
I'm sorry, Senator, could you repeat that? I need to see your face on screen to count the vote.
Sure. Senator Sampson votes no.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Weir.
Weir is no.
Representative Ackert.
Representative Acker votes no.
Representative Belton.
Representative Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall.
Representative Hall votes yes.
Representative Hughes.
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Uh,
Can you see me?
Hughes, could I see could you vote it again, please?
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Lesser. Representative Yacarino.
Representative Yacarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and we will be holding votes open. The next item on the agenda is item number 6, an act concerning state marshal's health care. Is there a motion?
So moved by Rep.
Second.
Wilson.
It was moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Sanchez. And this is a bill that last year we commissioned a study about state marshals, and the results of that study are in. And as we are seeking to raise a concept that would provide from the state health care for certain state marshals. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, then I've been told we can do a voice vote on this issue. So item number 6, act concerning state marshals health care. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Seeing none, in opposition or abstaining, the motion passes. Item number 7, an act concerning hazard pensions for judicial employees. Is there a motion?
Representative Wilson, so moved.
Seconded.
Oh, go ahead.
Representative Wilson moved and Representative Sanchez seconded. This is a concept that will provide hazard pensions for certain judicial employees. This is something that we have, I think this is the first time it's come before us, but we have been advised that there are certain judicial employees that face very hazardous jobs, much like other first responders in our state, and they are seeking statutory adjustment to allow for hazard pensions for those individuals. I've been advised that this will be a voice vote, but before I call for the vote, are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, then I would ask all those in favor to say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Next item on the agenda, item number 8, an act concerning permanent partial disability benefits and pension offsets. Is there a motion?
Representative Wilson, so moved.
Seconded, Rep. Hughes.
Okay, been moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is a concept that we've seen in the past. This would prohibit municipalities from charging certain employees pensions for a settlement that had been received from workers' compensation for a permanent partial disability. I think we've had testimony about this in the past that someone who was awarded compensation as a result of their permanent partial disability on the job should not have to pay for that disability out of their pensions. So I know that there'll be some good discussion on this. But I'm open now to any questions or comments. Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, no, this bill has come up before in the past. This is another repeat one, I think, right? So, basically, the way I'm understanding this is that we are going to pass a state law that would prohibit the ability for municipal employees to collectively bargain for a certain benefit. And I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate either to grant them the benefit by state law or to deny them the benefit by state law. That's something that they should be able to do. Certainly this is going to, if it ends up being a situation where we guarantee the municipal employees the benefit and do not allow the municipality to negotiate away some of that pension offset, or to rather not negotiate it away, but rather to create the pension offset. It's going to have an impact on municipal budgets, may raise property taxes as well. So for me, this bill is a negative on multiple counts. Number one, it's interfering with the freedom to collectively bargain and negotiate, infringing on the rights of the employees and the municipality. And on the second case, it only has the potential effect of raising property taxes. So this is an easy no vote for me, Madam Chairman. And again, this bill, I don't know, it hasn't gone anywhere in the past. I don't suspect that this time will be any different. I think when members in both parties start to realize the overall impact, it starts to lose support. So hopefully that begins today. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Sampson. You're correct that this has been on our agenda before, like so many bills we have in the legislative committees. It is not uncommon for it to take a number of years for us to debate and discuss these and to set them as priorities. This is a bill that I feel very strongly about because we do legislate in many cases the ways in which employees are treated and their pensions are treated. Of course, these items can also be collectively bargained in some cases, those agreements provide for greater than what we have in statute. This, however, to me is a very fundamental issue where we are saying, let's take a firefighter who permanently loses the ability to use a body part because of the work they do. If they're able to return to work, they get full dollar amount for that award that goes through workers' compensation. However, if they're not able to go back to work, that dollar amount is taken from a pension that they have earned. And to me, this is just very fundamental about what is right and how do we treat our frontline first responders who, take on very many risks in order to protect us and to protect our property. So, I hope that this is the year we get it done. I've been in the legislature long enough to see that it often means that we have to come back, and people often gain a greater understanding of the issue through these public hearings and through the debates that we have. So I'm optimistic that this will be the year for this bill. I don't generally go into a great deal of depth because we're going to have other opportunities to discuss this should this concept be raised today, certainly through the public hearing process and through our committee meetings that are held after the public hearing. But I feel so strongly about this one, I wanted to pipe in to say a few words. Representative Weir.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I just have a few points to make. Again, listening to Senator Sampson, we talk about the ability to collectively bargain. I think the job of supporting that employee, I use the reference of the firefighter, or in my case as a former police officer, I believe strongly that in those cases you have the union is there to advocate for the individual and to work with the municipality or the town to come to an agreement. I think we're tipping the scales by legislating this. I think that's the role of the union. Furthermore, I hear from my constituents all the time that when something comes down from Hartford, without a funding mechanism. It's an unfunded mandate that cost gets passed down to the municipality. We did it with a number of, well, we do it all the time up in Hartford. And so for that, I hear that feedback from my superintendents, from my town administrators, from the general public. Please stop with the unfunded mandate. So, certainly I have a grave concern that we're going to consider supporting this when we're going to pass those costs automatically down to the municipality and ultimately the taxpayer without their opportunity to have input. And I guess my last comment would be that, I asked earlier if a particular bill had changed materially. And so I'm concerned that, I understand that maybe people need to hear and understand over a period of time, but if we're going to, kind of bring the same concept back that didn't go forward before without offering something new or changing the bill in some way that improves it, I don't think that's just a reason for bringing it back. So I'll be a no on this for those reasons, and thank you for the time.
Thank you, Representative Weir. There are a lot of things that change from year to year. And while the language may not change, the people's understanding may change, or a constituent may have reached out and had a very compelling story to tell that changes the view of a legislator. So I do think it's worthwhile that we do this in terms of whether it's the responsibility of collective bargaining to address the issue. One of the things that I think we have a responsibility as legislators to address is where we don't think someone should be in a position where they have to choose between a benefit that's being offered that they very much need through collective bargaining, but they have to give up the poor individual who gets hurt on the job. So I don't think that we want municipalities bargaining on this issue precisely because it may only affect a few people, but those people who it affects are the people who risk their life for us. So, again, I know we'll have plenty of time to debate the issue, and I hope we can persuade you to change your mind on this one. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then I would ask the clerk to call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 8, an act concerning permanent partial disability benefits and pension offsets. The motion is to raise this as a concept. Senator Kushner.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez.
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson.
Sorry. Senator Sampson votes no.
Representative Weir.
Weir is no.
I'm sorry, Representative, could you repeat that?
Weir is no.
Thank you. Representative Ackert.
Representative Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton.
Belton votes yes.
Representative, could you repeat that so I could verify?
Representative Belton votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Hall.
Representative Hall votes yes.
I'm sorry, Representative, would you mind repeating that one more time?
Representative Hall votes yes.
Thank you. Representative Hughes.
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lester. Representative Yacarino.
Representative Yacarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, you're muted.
Thank you. The votes will be held open and we will move on to item number 9. A resolution petitioning Congress to change Social Security windfall provisions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded, Rep. Hughes.
So it's been moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is the first time we are hearing this concept. It would be a resolution to urge Congress to make the necessary changes in Social Security to allow teachers and other public servants to collect certain Social Security pensions. certain social security benefits. This will be the first time we're hearing this while I've been in the legislature, and I am interested in hearing it. I have heard from many constituents, teachers who may have earned Social Security in other jobs that they've had, and then when they retire, they're not eligible to collect. Particularly concerning when we're looking to bring back teachers at a time when we have a shortage, and sometimes they fear that they would risk losing their Social Security benefits should they return to teaching profession. So I know we can't, this is not a change that we'd be making statutorily, but we would be working with other states who have taken this measure up and would be urging Congress to change that through legislation. Any comments or questions? Representative Acker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was confused on why we were even attempting to contact the Congress on this. Is this the normal process that a legislative committee does? So this has to go through not just this committee, got to go through the floor in the Senate and to be voted on, and then it can happen. Is there a better way to reach out to our Congress people rather than through just to reach out to our I agree with the fact that that's unfortunate that the way the teachers, I can't tell you how many teachers had full-time professions, and then, hey, you know what, I want to be a teacher now. I've already retired. I'm an engineer. I'm going to go into the teaching field. They go, what do you mean I'm penalized on the other end on collecting Social Security? Is this the best process? I guess is that what I'm asking. Is there a way that we just talk to our 5 legislative bodies here and our 5 federal congressmen and our 2 senators and say, we all just can make a phone call? I'm just wondering if there's another better process. If this is something that you view or others view that this is the best process.
I did raise it this year. Representative Sanchez and I discussed it. We decided that it was important to raise. I assure you that our delegation, our federal delegation, has received phone calls both from legislators and from teachers, and it's a serious issue. I am pretty confident that our federal delegation agrees with us on this. This would be a stronger statement if the state legislature makes it as a resolution, not just to our delegation, but to the entire Congress. I do believe it's happened in other states, and I think it's being, recognizing that we, as a legislature, as a state, endorse a policy change in this regard for the exact same reasons you just mentioned. I know we've all gotten calls from teachers who are very upset by this, and I think it hurts our education system when we can't employ those very experienced folks that you mentioned to come back and work for us and as teachers. And so it's just a stronger statement, I think, and certainly we'll hear testimony about it. I don't think it's super controversial, but it is a way to strengthen our position on the issue.
Yep, on that, I'm interested in hearing this. Thank you.
Representative Weir.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just just really one question. Would this provision and this motion, would this expand? Would this be offered to all teachers? And would this be private, charter, magnet, public, trade schools? Would all those teachers benefit conceptually from this proposal?
I'm afraid I can't answer that question. We'll have to ask that of the the advocates that come and address us in public hearing. I don't have as much understanding of that on a federal level of what it would mean. So if you could just hold that question for our public hearing, and hopefully we can get an answer then. We could also ask our policy people. I'm sure they can answer as well, but I don't have that at my fingertips. Thank you, Representative Weir. It's a good question. Representative Yaccarino.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no faith in Congress, either party, Democrat nor Republican. They can't get their act together. We might send this there, but unfortunately, I don't think they'll look at anything. And I think it should be all teachers. We should not discriminate one against the other, one group against the other. So I'll listen to this, but if it's just one group of teachers, not others, I don't think that's fair or equitable. But I honestly believe we're blowing smoke. Our federal government is, we're just giving false hope unless we do something here. So I'll listen, but it sounds good. It looks good, but I believe it's false hope to our teachers who work very hard for us, for our students.
I wish I could debate you on whether or not it's false hope, but I can't debate you on that issue. I think there is concern about whether we'll be heard or this resolution would be, taken up by Congress. But I think the point is whether or not we as the state are making a statement, a strong statement in support of our teachers. So I hope with that in mind that we can come to some agreement on raising this concept. Senator Sampson.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I agree with my colleagues that, this is the kind of thing where, we're in the state legislature. We should stay out of the business of trying to pass federal laws. I don't want the federal government interfering with what we do here either. We do have 7 elected representatives from the state of Connecticut in Congress. They should be able to carry the torch for this type of legislation. They don't need us to do so. However, I'm fine with listening to the conversation, and this one I think will be fine as a voice vote rather than a roll call.
Thank you, Senator Sampson. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then I would ask that all in favor of raising the resolution petitioning Congress to change Social Security windfall provisions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion carries. Item number 10 on the agenda, an act increasing the threshold amount for felony unemployment compensation fraud. Is there a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved by Representative Wilson. Is there a second?
Second, Rep. Hughes.
Seconded by Representative Hughes. This is a bill that, again, we have had this in the past, but this would raise the amount of overpayment of unemployment compensation for any reason to $2,000. This would be, it would not relieve any person in that position from obligations to repay and meet all the penalties under the law for an over payment of unemployment compensation. What it does do is it says that that person would be found guilty of a misdemeanor rather than a felony. And we've had testimony on this in the past. I believe it's the right thing to do. And I know that Representative Sanchez and I have talked a lot about the importance of making sure that while people need to be penalized if they received an overpayment in a fraudulent way, the question of what constitutes a felony and the implications of having a felony on your record and what that means are really great. So I hope that we can hear the testimony on this again this year and move this bill forward. Are there any comments or questions? Senator Sampson.
Sorry, Madam Chairman. We never know who's going to take the lead on some of these things until the last second. We are on number 10, correct? The increasing the threshold.
That's correct.
Yeah, no, my understanding of this is that we're trying to change the amount of the, a threshold for the amount of fraud that's actually committed from certain dollar amounts.
Yes, right now on statute, it's a $600 amount for if you've been found guilty of this for over $600 or more dollars, then you would be guilty of a felony. Where this will suggest that it be raised to $2,000, which is the same amount that we find in our statutes for theft of private property.
Right, but this applies only to someone who is committing fraud and trying to steal money from the unemployment compensation fund. Is that correct?
It is a case where they've been found to have fraudulently been overpaid unemployment compensation.
Right, that's different than somebody who's been accidentally paid, though. Is that correct?
There are cases that are considered non-fraud overpayments.
Right. Understood. Yeah. Based on that, there's no way I could support something like this. I mean, if someone commits even 1 cent of fraud against our unemployment system, I'm inclined to, give them the maximum penalty. Why would we be interested in reducing that penalty is beyond me. I understand there's some conversation about trying to match other statutes and so forth, but I mean, we're talking about people that are actively committing fraud. This is not accidents. This is not someone who, provided, incorrect information, by accident or anything like that. This is someone who's actively trying to defraud our system. And, so I'm going to vote no today because I don't believe we should be upping that threshold. If anything, we should be reducing it. Thank you.
I appreciate your comments. I do think, however, that you're going to, if I recall correctly, in testimony, what is considered to be a non-fraud case of overpayment versus a fraudulent case of overpayment can come down to someone making a mistake on how they record or their understanding of their entitlement to unemployment in a given week. I think we heard testimony in the past about this that was very compelling. So I hope that we'll hear this bill again and have an opportunity to discuss it on the other side after the public hearing. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then I would ask for the clerk to take the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 10, an act increasing the threshold amount for felony unemployment compensation fraud. The motion is to raise this as a concept. Senator Kushner.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez.
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson.
Senator Sampson votes no.
Representative Weir.
Weir is no.
Representative Ackert.
Rep. Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton.
Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall.
Representative Hall votes yes.
Representative Hughes.
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser. Representative Yacarino.
Yacarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and we will be holding the votes open. The next item on the agenda is item number 11, an act concerning volunteer fire departments and ambulance companies and the definition of employer under the State Occupational Safety and Health Act. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is a bill that we've had in the past from the Department of Labor that would clarify that volunteer fire departments, certain volunteer fire departments would come under the jurisdiction, and ambulance companies, I should say, come under the definition and jurisdiction of Connecticut OSHA. I've been told that this we can take a voice vote on this. Are there any comments or questions? Is that a question, Representative Ackert?
All right, I figured I'd raise my hand quicker. Is this the bill that we passed last year?
This is the bill that we passed out of committee last year, correct? And
Okay.
I believe it had widespread, if not unanimous support, but it did not make it through the legislature, through both.
Okay. Thank you.
It made it through the House, but so
I thought we made it through the House.
you did.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then I will ask that all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item number 12, an act requiring notice of discontinuance of prescription medication under a workers' compensation claim. Is there a motion?
So moved. Rep. Hughes.
Second.
It was moved by Representative Hughes and seconded by Representative Wilson. This is an act that we have had this bill in the past. It would require that workers who are on workers' compensation receiving medical benefits and prescription drug benefits, that if the insurer or employer decides to discontinue a certain medication to those and that employee, to that worker. I think we also have had strong support for this in the past, and I've been told we can ask for a voice vote on this issue. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, then I would ask that all in favor of an act requiring notice of discontinuance of prescription medication under a workers' compensation claim, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Item number 13, act making technical changes to statutes and repealing obsolete provisions and statutes relevant to the Labor Department.
So moved.
It's been moved by
Seconded.
Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is a technical bill that's been provided to us by the Department of Labor. It specifically addresses certain changes. I will go through them briefly since I know there may be questions about them. It clarifies that the Labor Commissioner may enter into contractual agreements, including federal funds that might be made available or allotted under federal law. It revises enhanced wage records to include the zip code of the employee's primary workplace. It eliminates the Occupational Health Clinics Advisory Committee's annual report, and it repeals sections 31-51N and 31-51O. The repeal is necessary as these statutes are preempted by federal law, specifically ERISA. Those are the 4 items that would be coming up under this tech bill. Any comments? Senator Sampson? You're okay?
I'm all set, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, then if there's no objection, I believe we might be able to take a voice vote on this. Okay, great. Then all those in favor of the DOL tech bill, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item number 14, again, act clarifying the appeals process under CGS 31-49H. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded. Hughes.
So it's moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. My understanding of this item is that DOL has drafted a clarification of the appeals process for certain appeals filed with them for the Connecticut paid leave. This is a recent, we passed that bill in 2019. We've only had benefits in effect for 2 years. And what we've found from DOL is there needs to be more clarification about how that appeal processes work, and it will help workers who are seeking to appeal decision by Connecticut paid leave. Any questions or comments? I've been told we can have a voice vote on this issue. Seeing no comments or questions, I would ask that all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item number 15, an act concerning the streamlining of the Connecticut Department of Labor's employer quarterly statement unemployment insurance tax protest timeline. It's a mouthful. Is there a motion?
So
Seconded.
It was moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This, give me 1 second, I can give you a couple of sentences on this one. That page. It would amend the general statutes to shorten the timeline from 60 days to 40 days for an employer to protest. It is something that would not, they would have They have a new system of notifying employers, so employers are notified much more quickly than in the past when this was necessary. So I've been told we can have a voice vote on this. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, then I would ask all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, then the motion passes. The next item on the agenda is item number 16, an act concerning working conditions. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded, Rep. Hughes.
It's been moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is a bill that would, as it says, provide an opportunity for concepts related to an act concerning working conditions. I know that I expect to hear from Senator Sampson, as we have in the past, an objection because we often call this a placeholder bill. That is exactly what it is. So there's no pretending going on. So Senator Sampson, excuse me.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. I appreciate the introduction. Am I correct that items 16, 17, 18, and 19 are all placeholder bills?
That is correct.
I'll just say a quick word about it. I mean, from my perspective, serving in the minority, sadly, I'm in my I think 13th year serving in the minority. No, 14th year actually serving in the minority. So it's frustrating just the way that this process works as it is. I mean, the chairs have all of the power and ability to determine, what bills actually make it to an agenda. They decide which bills get a hearing, which bills get a vote. I mean, and this process of raising concepts is frustrating enough as it is because, we don't know exactly what language we're talking about sometimes. We are offered a one-line concept, an act concerning working conditions as an example. And then ultimately it is the chairs and the nonpartisan staff that will fill in the content of what the bill is. So it's very difficult to even determine how to vote. And I think it's almost impossible to vote yes on any of them, because how am I supposed to support something when I'm not even allowed to know what it is? In a case like this, where we're upfront about the fact that this is a placeholder bill, that we're only raising a title for the purpose of potentially adding in language later. From my perspective in the minority, it's something you just cannot support because the majority already has so many advantages to modify the existing bills that are going to make it out of this committee today. And in fact, I think we are covering almost the entire gamut of what the Labor Committee can touch as far as different policy areas with the bills that are out there. And it's another frustration that we often raise bills in the committee, have hearings, they're debated, they're voted on, and then ultimately they go to the floor of the House or Senate. And the very first thing that happens is someone will get up and offer a strike all amendment to change all of the language that's contained in the bill that we supposedly fleshed out and vetted in the committee. So I'm just venting a little bit and also trying to share with anyone watching how this process works and why it's very difficult for members of the minority to support concepts, generally speaking, because we're not privy to the final language, and even more so when it comes to something like a placeholder where even the chairs haven't contemplated what they might put in there yet, or at least they're not saying so. So I'll be a no on this item, and I presume we'll have a roll call on items 16, 17, 18, and 19, and I'll intend on voting no on all of them. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Sampson. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, then I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 16, an act concerning working conditions. The motion is to raise this as a concept. Senator Kushner.
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez.
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera. Representative Wilson.
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson.
Sampson is no.
I'm sorry, Senator, could you repeat that so I can verify?
Senator Sampson votes no.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Weir.
Weir is no.
Representative Ackert,
Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton,
Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall,
Representative Hall votes yes.
Representative Hughes,
Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser, Representative Yakarino.
Yakarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And we will be holding the votes open on item number 16 and all the items that we voted on thus far. Item number 17, an act concerning workers' rights. Is there a motion?
So moved, Rep. Hughes.
Second.
It's been moved by Representative Hughes and seconded by Representative Wilson. Act concerning workers' rights is again another placeholder. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, then I will ask that the clerk call the roll.
Okay, a roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 17, an act concerning workers' rights. The motion is to raise this as a concept. Senator Kushner,
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez,
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera, Representative Wilson,
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson,
Sampson is no.
Representative Weir,
Rep. Weir is no.
Representative Ackert,
Rep. Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton,
Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall,
Representative Hall votes yes.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser, Representative Yakarino.
Representative Yakarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We will be holding votes open. The next item on the agenda is item number 18, an act concerning the Department of Labor. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded, Rep. Hughes.
It was moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is again a placeholder bill. Are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, I would ask the clerk to call the vote.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 18, an act concerning the Department of Labor. The motion is to raise this. Senator Kushner,
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez,
Rep. Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera, Representative Wilson,
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson,
Sampson votes no.
Representative Weir.
Rep. Weir is no.
I'm sorry, Representative, could you repeat that so I can verify?
Weir is no.
Thank you. Representative Ackert,
Representative Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton,
Representative Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall,
Representative Hall votes yes.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser, Representative Yakarino.
Yakarino, no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We will be holding votes open. The next item on the agenda, item number 19, an act concerning workers' compensation. Is there a motion?
So moved, Rep. Hughes.
Second.
It was moved by Representative Hughes and seconded by Representative Wilson. This again is a placeholder concept. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, then I would ask that the clerk call the roll.
A roll call vote has been requested and a motion duly made and seconded on agenda item 19, an act concerning workers' compensation. The motion is to raise this. Senator Kushner,
Senator Kushner votes yes.
Representative Sanchez,
Representative Sanchez votes yes.
Senator Cabrera, Representative Wilson,
Representative Wilson votes yes.
Senator Sampson,
Senator Sampson votes no.
Representative Weir,
Weir is no.
Representative Alkert,
Representative Ackert votes no.
Representative Belton,
Belton votes yes.
Representative Hall,
Representative Hall votes yes.
Representative Hughes,
Representative Hughes votes yes.
Senator Lesser, Representative Yakarino.
Yakarino votes no.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Item number 20 on the agenda, an act concerning a full employment trust fund. Do you have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Whatever. Refuse.
So I believe that was moved by Representative Wilson and seconded by Representative Hughes. This is a bill that we had last year as well. It was turned into a study bill, which I believe is likely to happen again this year, given the cognizance of our committee. I think that the concept of full employment is one I'm assuming we all support. And again, I would love to hear the testimony in how this might be addressed in other states and the potential for addressing it here in Connecticut. Any comments or questions? I have been told this will be a voice vote. So I see no hands. So item number 20, an act concerning a full employment trust fund. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. The last item on our under this item on our agenda is item number 21, an act concerning agricultural workers. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
It was moved by Representative Ackert and seconded by Representative Wilson. This is a bill, again, that we had last year. I think there was pretty broad support within our committee to raise the amount when an employer, agriculture employer, would be required to pay into our unemployment trust fund. I've been told this is a voice vote, so are there any comments or questions? Seeing none, then all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed?
I'm an aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion carries. Item number 4 on our agenda is to announce the time and date of our next meeting. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, February 20th at 10 a.m. It will be conducted in room 1C and via Zoom. Before I adjourn, I would like to ask that we hold those open for 2 hours. That would, well, let's round it off. So that would be until 2:33 or 2:30, let's make it. You don't have to do those extra 3 minutes, Cameron. So I hope all of the members will be able to vote during that time. At this time, we will recess our meeting until 2:30, when it will be adjourned. Thank you all. Good to see you all, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Representative Hall, I'll take your votes in just one moment. Let me just line up which votes I need from you first.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep, 4 was the voice vote, so it's just 1, 2, 3 then. First, item 1, an act concerning rideshare and delivery drivers.
Yes.
Item number 2, an act concerning non-competes.
Yes.
And item number 3, an act concerning predictable scheduling.
Yes.
Thank you, Representative.
All right, take care.
So Senator Lesser,
Aye.
so I have 7 votes standing for you. First one is agenda item 5, an act concerning equity in state employment.
Then
Yes.
maybe, I don't know, I mean, trying to get a little tougher, here I am.
Second one is agenda item 8, an act concerning permanent partial disability benefits and pension offsets.
Yes.
Third one is agenda item 10, an act increasing the threshold amount for felony unemployment compensation fraud.
Yes.
Agenda item 16, an act concerning working conditions.
Yes.
Agenda item 17, an act concerning workers' rights.
Yes.
Agenda item 18, an act concerning the Department of Labor.
Yes.
And agenda item 19, an act concerning workers' compensation.
Yes.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Cameron.
Hello, Senator Cabrera.
You. Hi, Cameron. How are you?
Doing all right. Yourself?
I'm okay. Struggling. Thank you for holding this open a little longer.
No problem. Okay, so there's 8 items. So first one is agenda item 1, an act concerning rideshare and delivery drivers.
Yeah, Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Okay. Agenda item 5, an act concerning equity in state employment.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Agenda item 8, an act concerning permanent partial disability benefits and pension offsets.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Agenda item 10, an act increasing the threshold amount for felony unemployment compensation fraud.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Agenda item 16, an act concerning working conditions.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Agenda item 17, an act concerning workers' rights.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Agenda item 18, an act concerning the Department of Labor.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
And lastly, agenda item 19, an act concerning workers' compensation.
Senator Cabrera votes yes.
Great. Thank you, Senator.
Thanks, Cameron. Talk soon.
Yep.